The first thing that comes to my mind when I look at this prancing horse is the Italian Stallion. And even better than its competitor, the Lamborghini. This right here is the 2020 Ferrari 812 Superfast. I'm Kevin from Elite Fine Cars. Let's get right into it. We hope you guys are enjoying the videos, and if you are, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. If you're shopping for a new or used vehicle, head on down to Elite Fine Cars where we'll have an associate ready to help you find your dream car. And don't forget to let us know you saw us on YouTube. Starting at the front of this Ferrari, this is absolutely breathtaking. I will say, just overall first impressions, I'm not gonna point out anything. I'm not gonna point out the headlights or the front lip or anything. I just want to just take a look at this vehicle. This Ferrari 812 is absolutely beautiful. The architecture, the color, everything comes together to make this thing look absolutely breathtaking. While we are here, I think we should take a look at the front and see what we have to offer here. Right here, you have your Ferrari headlights with its actual high beam LED laser headlights, which these things are bright and powerful, which go figure, if you're gonna be driving fast, especially maybe even at night, you need good headlights to really light up that road. First impression of the front, really pretty. You have a lot of these kind of curvatures in the hood that follow along. I guess this is probably gonna be for aerodynamics. You have front air vents right here. So the one thing that actually stands about this Ferrari is your engine is actually right here in the front, but your drivetrain is actually rear wheel drive. So it's a little bit different as opposed to other things. Like you have like a Porsche, for example, that has the engine in the back, and you also have rear wheel drive. And same thing for a Lamborghini, you got your engine in the back, but you also have rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. So this is a little bit different here. This one is a rear wheel drive, which I think that can switch to all wheel drive if I'm not mistaken. But that's what these little vents here are for, probably for cooling of the engine. Now, getting to the front here, now this is something a little bit different. You actually have these weird kind of slots that go all the way through. So you can see my finger goes all the way through here. I'm not quite sure what that's for. Could that be maybe for downforce or maybe to reduce drag when you're driving? Now, you'll always have to remember Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches, all those cars under that umbrella right there, although they are very nice, exotic, luxury cars, they were made for one thing and one thing only at the beginning, and that was to have insane track times. So with the history of the vehicle, you're obviously going to maintain to those roots of having a fast, luxurious, exotic car, and that's exactly what Ferrari did. Now, this could be a feature that's probably meant for the track. Maybe that little air pulling you down, that's just that 20, 30, 40% less drag that will actually be holding you back. And that could be the difference between a 3.5 and a 3.2 second 0 to 60. Now you have everything else you'd expect. You have your nice little Ferrari logo here in yellow with the prancing horse. Again, followed by another prancing horse. Now this being a 2020, you have all those extra upgrades. You have your parking sensors right here. You have your front camera in here. So I assume that's probably for parking because you would not want to break this lip right here. I guarantee you, you crack this lip right here, you're not just replacing this piece, you are probably replacing this piece, this over here, and pretty much the entire front bumper going all the way around here. You'd have to replace all of that. So they probably give you a camera in front there just in case you get a little too close to that curb or a little close to that parking spot. This will make sure you don't hit anybody. Now that we've taken a look at the front, let's move over to the side and show you how actually absurdly long this car is. So like we were saying, this Ferrari has its engine in the front, having a rear wheel and all-wheel drive availability. This car kind of gives me the same kind of look as a Mercedes AMG GTR, for example, where you have that really long hood, but then you have that shorter back. And that's kind of the same kind of look I get for this. So now, like as we were talking about earlier, these hood scoops right here that probably ventilate air into your engine bay. Now, if we look, they also come out over here. Could that also be for aerodynamics? I assume so, because something like this, that hugs the body line right here, you don't really get air coming in through the back here. So I assume it's probably engine and anything else coming from the tires, maybe even heat. Could be to allow heat from those tires, because obviously if you have these massive 20-inch rims and wheels with those massive calipers, look at these calipers, they're literally the size of my actual forearm. These are the Brembos, so you probably have about 6 pistons on those, so you have a lot of stopping force on them with those carbon ceramics right there. So Ferrari really doesn't waste time, and they don't cut any corners when it comes to your performance. It's all the little details that they will go through that no other car manufacturer would. Like you have this nice beautiful Ferrari yellow with the Ferrari yellow cap. But then here's the other cool thing. If you look at the tire spoke right here with the cap, it's also a yellow prancing horse on the cap as well, which I think it's small details like that that Ferrari goes above and beyond with. Now, feeling into the wheel well over here, usually you feel like that plastic feeling for these cars. This isn't plastic, actually. This is kind of like that carpet interior that you'd expect to see in the back of a trunk, actually, which is something that I find surprising for myself because, as you can see here, even taking a small little drive, like a lot of like these little sticks and stuff will actually stick to that car. Moving on back to the side over here, kind of the same Ferrari design you expect with a nice, beautiful color. But these handles, I'll be honest with you, I'm not too big of a fan of them. Maybe they made them this way for weight reduction. Half the size handles means half the weight. I'm not sure, but when you have a Ferrari, especially that's a 2020, something that I don't think is actually proper to put in is you have this key slot right here. Obviously you lock yourself out, you need somewhere to put the key. I think it would probably be better if you put it like somewhere behind the door handle where you can hide it or something like every other else car does, but that's how Ferrari did it. And I guess they already jam-packed these vehicles with a lot of features. So I guess, you know, putting like a little red sticker over there, you'll never even know that it's there and there'll be a problem solved. Well, now that we've looked at the side of this vehicle, let's take a look at the back because these are oriented differently. Like I was saying previously, there's no engine back here this time. That massive V12 engine is actually sitting in the front of this vehicle. So strangely enough, with this Ferrari, you can actually expect to get trunk space, which is something that you don't usually say when it comes to Ferraris. Now, we're going to pop this right here. So it actually doesn't open up all the way, which I guess that's okay. Doesn't really matter that much. But I really just wanted to be careful with this thing. So opening this thing up and wow, I would say I'm a little surprised, I would say. You got your like little Ferrari duffel bag. I assume that's with all your safety features, tire kit, just in case something happens. Maybe you have like some flares, some roadside assistance and whatnot. Nice little Ferrari bag with like a little Ferrari goodies over here, official Ferrari. Trunk space isn't too bad. You would be able to take this thing for a grocery run 100% of the time. There's already 3-4 bags fitting in here. You have a nice little kind of cover over here that you can also put groceries in there. And then if you also see in here on the back of the trunk here, you actually have a personalization specification. So it actually tells you all the things that this thing has in features. So it has like leather headliner, satellite radio, leather partial shelf. Like it tells you it has all these like little features that, like I was saying on the side of the vehicle, that little key lock doesn't really change much because it's so jam-packed that there's always something for you to be happy with. Now, the one thing that'll instantly, I have to talk about this because it's the first thing that I noticed is, this goes right through. Your cabin's open from here. So if you open up your trunk, you can literally see right into your vehicle, which is something that you don't usually generally see with these vehicles. Like when you think of like a Huracan, for example, that back will open, but there's still that glass piece that separates the driver from the trunk, obviously, because you don't want that engine heat to go into your cabin. But looking in the back of the trunk here, lots of space. I think this is really cool, which makes you really excited to actually go inside of this car. But while we're still back here, we're going to take a deeper dive into this. So we were saying up at the front how they had that front lip that was kind of like split from the bumper. They essentially have the exact same thing here. Now, quite honestly, based on what I'm seeing over here is they kind of have this thing to kind of cover the heat shield back here that probably lets a lot of heat out from the exhaust. I don't think this really serves much of a purpose rather than letting heat go up and out, rather than letting it come out just to kind of cover that heat shield that comes out, because maybe you can't really cover that exhaust as much as you would like to. Not really a feature that really helps in the performance. I think this is just more so with the look of it. I'm not really too sure. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys know. But you kind of have the classic Ferrari back, right? You have these nice, beautiful Ferrari round headlights, which if you notice, there's a lot of other companies who are actually starting to try to gravitate to kind of these Ferrari style looking headlights or rear lights. Same thing, you have the nice silver prancing horse right there with your quad tip exhaust. It's kind of everything that I would expect to see in a Ferrari in the rear is kind of what I see on the 812 Fastback. Now, I will say I'm excited to hop into this vehicle because the interior of this vehicle is going to be completely different because it's not just a regular Ferrari 812. It is a Ferrari 812 Fastback, which means you're going to have a lot of features interior that make it feel more like a supercar and a race car, especially with this carbon fiber Daytona bucket seat. So I say we go hop into this vehicle and let's take a look. Getting into the Ferrari 812 Fastback, our first overall impressions. A lot easier to get into this car as opposed to other cars. Like last week we reviewed the 765 LT, a lot harder to get into this car. Now, first impressions. I have never personally been a fan of a Ferrari. I do love them and I've driven them before. They just never really had that wow factor for me, but Now that I'm sitting inside of this one, I really understand that wow factor. There's so much carbon fiber all the way around, and you actually have some Alcantara over here and on your floor liners. And they were saying, this is actually a leather ceiling over here. Rear view mirror is absolutely beautiful. Really matches the overall aesthetic of this car, but this feels like a race car. Like holding the steering wheel, this feels like a absolute monster of a race car. Now, one thing I gotta say, it's kind of funny. The paddle shifters actually say down and up, which is, I think, is kind of funny. So looking at all of our clusters over here, you have a button over here that actually opens up your trunk, which is kind of cool. It's right there, which I don't really like that spot, because if I was getting in and out of that, I feel like I'd hit that button constantly a little too much. You have your cruise control, and you have different light features for your car over here on the left-hand side. On your right-hand side, you have your reverse, auto, you have your parking brake, your four-ways. This is probably just to move around your stuff on your little dash here. But the one thing that Ferrari does that not a lot of other people do is they actually keep a lot of your instrument clusters for your car's controls right on your steering wheel, right? So like I was saying, you have your up and down for your paddle shifters, but then you also have your left and right turn signal right here on the car. So if you're driving, it's with a thumb action, boom, left to go right. Then you have your washer speed, or your window wipers. You also have the button to spray the fluid as well. Everything is over here. You have your high beams, low beams, engine start, engine stop. Then you also have your race mode. You have wet, sport, race, CT off, ESC off. Everything is really held into the middle here, which quite honestly, I'm not a fan of that. I really like having stuff around. But if we take a look, we're just gonna hit the button here. Everything looks absolutely beautiful on this car. Now, looking at the instrument cluster over here, it looks kind of nice, but it also looks kind of dated to me, if I'm being honest with you. It looks dated, it looks older, but I guess that's kind of what Ferrari likes to kind of keep around. They have their original OG design, and they like to stick with it. Now you'll see, now that the car is actually on, you see all this stuff opens up. You actually have an open button here, so let's click that. Look at that. You actually have a button that says open to open your glove compartment, which I think is pretty cool. Your manuals and everything else are in there. Nice power button for the screen for the passenger here. Now this screen right here will actually show most of what's already on this display right here. So you'll see your tachometer, you'll see your RPM gauge, you'll see all those kind of things on that screen over there. Now you look over at the driver, you have your kind of like pedal things here for when you're driving, but then also you see the passenger also has one as well, which I think that's kind of a cool feature as well. You'll see it says 812 super fast pretty much throughout the vehicle, and in a couple places you'll see it up there. You'll see it down on the floor mats, and you'll see it down on the side as well. Overall, nice interior of the car. I'm not sure how I feel about these seats. This looks kind of strange to me. It looks like someone just glued a bunch of straps onto a car, but I still overall like the comfort of these cars. The seats are very comfortable. I feel very snug and secure in this thing. It's just these kind of strips right here, they just kind of throw me off a little bit. Do I still like them? Yes. Do I think they look good? I do still think they look good. They fit for what the car is with these kind of, you have a nice red stripe here, red stitching all the way around your dash here. It matches the colors everywhere else. If that wasn't the case, then I wouldn't like these at all. But I think everything comes together with the rest of the car. And it's probably also meant for a little bit of weight reduction, right? These are your carbon fiber bucket seats, the Daytonas. You're meant to go fast in this car, and you won't go fast with like extra features like having automatic seats or you're like fully comfortable seats, right? Now that we've reviewed the entirety of this car, I think there's one thing that I think everybody's waiting for, and it's to hear the roar of this engine. So we're gonna start this thing up, we're gonna listen to it, then we're gonna run to the front of this car, and we're gonna take a look at that big bulky V12 engine. So let's start this thing up, and let's hear what it sounds like. Now, opening up the front hood of this Ferrari, this is exactly what we were talking about, this massive V12 6.5 liter engine. And like, obviously when we're thinking of the Mercedes AMG GTR, you're gonna have that big length as well, especially in the front hood section, because they have to pack in this big engine. Now this V12 6.5 liter, it does about 790 horsepower to the wheel. This car sits about 3,600 pounds itself. So like I said, Ferrari and a lot of these cars like Lamborghini and Mercedes, they like to really go for weight reduction. So you'll see a lot of features inside of the car, especially with the carbon fiber bucket seats, really take away from the weight of this car. So when you have about 790 horsepower mixed with all this weight reduction, you have that much more performance when you're actually driving this thing on a track. And now, like I said, cars like Ferrari and Lamborghini, they're track oriented. These cars were built to be on the track. So these engines will run very, very, very hot. So the one most important thing for cars like a Ferrari or Lamborghini isn't actually like the cool features you see on the inside of the car or the overall looks of the outside of the car. It's actually engine and engine cooling, and also, like we saw in the back, the exhaust cooling as well. Cooling is the most important thing on this engine. And like we were seeing over here, these vents right here, it's all active cooling to go right into the engine, because that's the most important thing for these cars, is the cooling. Now, Ferrari stayed with the classic design of their engines. Like, the one thing I've come to find is no matter if Ferrari gives you a V8, a V10, or a V12, this is kind of the same engine design I've seen throughout all Ferraris, whether the engine is in the front or whether it's in the back. You also have your stamp right here, chassis number 248861. It actually, they're all made to spec. These cars aren't made in big factory line like you would like a Honda Civic or Toyota. These are all made hand built by somebody. So now that we've come to the end of this thing, you really come to appreciate the design that Ferrari gives with these vehicles. You see how everything in this vehicle is handcrafted. When you see like all the small grooves and slits you see for air, you see how well the engine is put together. You see the inside, how all the stitching is professional and stuff like that. This car was built to be a car to have fun in, but it wasn't built to be like a grocery getter. So with the amount of horsepower that this car puts down and how serious this engine is, this has to be for somebody who is ready to run this thing on a rally on a Sunday or any day of the week. And mind you, these are meant for summer. You will not be taking a Ferrari or a Lamborghini out in the spring. Even boost season is a little bit of a gray area. I would primarily keep these cars for the summer. And now that we have summer approaching right now, this right here could be the car for you. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you guys are new. And if you guys really want to drive this thing and buy this thing, don't forget to click the link in the description below. I'm Kevin from Fine Cars. I'll see you guys in the next one.